Hi guys, it's Igor from Atomic Car Review team, and if you ever watch our Jaguar review, I told you that the biggest problem with this Jaguar is climate control system. Why? Because the system always burn fuses, and as I promised it to you, I promised that I'm gonna make some video how to fix the system, and today we're gonna do this. Right now I will show you problem from where you're supposed to check your AC system or heater system. It's a fuse. This one, it's 10 ampere fuse. Over here you see the first one. If it's burned out, it's definitely some problem with the AC system. You see over here some modification. I will tell you later what I did it, but it's helped me a lot. This is your climate control valve. How does it work? Hot water or coolant get inside this pipe, and then it's split by two pipes. Each pipe is going to like different sides of the car. One of them for front passenger, one of them for drivers. And if you're gonna regulate through this valve coolant stream, you can regulate your coolant temperature, which means that you can regulate separately temperature for front passenger or for driver. I don't know about what thing designer of this valve, but how does it work? It's usually always in open position, which means if, for example, something went wrong with your climate control system, it's always open, which means that during the summertime you always have hot air inside your Jaguar interior. And to close it, you really need to put some power on this valve, which is possible only if AC system or climate control system is work, which is unreal if at least something is broken, because if something broken, it burns this fuse, which is disconnect power to this valve, and you always get hot air from your heating system. Location of this valve, it's a little bit under the upper radiator hose and behind the auxiliary water pump. It's for S-Type versions. For regular Jaguar with V8 or V6, you don't have this additional water pump, and you can probably get much more access. And no matter what, I would say, I tell the same in our review about this Jaguar, that to get more room to play with this valve, it's much easier to remove your coolant reservoir, because in other cases you're supposed to use some special tools, which I show you right now. First of all, check your fuse. How do you do this? You can use any pliers, maybe your fingers, maybe your wife's nail, or the special tool which any Jaguar is supposed to have it, and take this fuse out. And what we see right now, fuse is totally fine, no burnout. You see the wiring inside is fine, which means AC system is work. But most of the time, if you have any problem with your climate control system, it's burned out, and then you're supposed to check what's going on. Or it's burned out, or for example, burn out some of your equipment as a climate control module or your dual valve for a coolant system. If fuse is fine, it's definitely some problem with the wiring. Probably you have broken wire or anything like this. And I will show you the point where it's easier to check them. But if fuse is burned, which means that some of your device which control your temperature inside, or for example AC pump, something is not working. And in this case you're supposed to find this device. That's our wiring diagram. I will give you a link in our video description. This is this fuse. You see this 10 ampere fuse, and you see how many devices he controls. It's a problem for the Jaguar. He controls this auxiliary coolant pump, which is for S-Type R model, which you cannot find on regular Jaguar. You control AC clutch relay, and also you control this dual coolant control valve. 3 devices for 1 fuse, and which means that if any of these devices fall out, you have a problem with the climate control system. Let's imagine that your fuse is fine, and we try to find right now where is the wiring problem. What I usually do if I don't want to replace all this coolant reservoir, I would recommend it to you to do this because it will be much easier. But if you have special tools, yeah, you can avoid this. I would like to show you a sample what I do usually. Let's imagine this our terminal on our heating control valve. What kind of special tools do you need? First of all, this most special tools, it's a clip for your paperwork. We make them straight. Then we have like special wire with 2 crocodiles on each side. and then we put this clip inside of this crocodile, like this. And to put this clip inside of the each wiring on your terminal on the dual valve, I do like this. Let's imagine that's your dual valve terminal, and I put it like this. You're supposed to put your paper or clip like this inside this wire to get contact with your wire. But guys, you have to understand that if you didn't take this stuff out, it's very hard to get there, and at least you're supposed to move it. That you have to unscrew this bolt here on the top of the engine. It's here, this bolt, and move at least a couple inches on the left of the car. And then what you're supposed to have, you're supposed to have something like this. Again, guys, I understand it's too much for your home garage, but if you have it, it's very nice. And then I use it like this and move all the way to the bottom, which is very, very, very hard, and put this metal clip the same as I showed you before inside of this terminal. Definitely not easy, but I'll try to show you at least idea how to do this. Take a look. Probably you can't even see, but yeah, it's an idea how it works. First of all, let's check if we have power on our middle contact. This contact supposed to be with yellow wire, which is positive wire with a positive contact, and this wire goes directly to your 10 ampere fuse. To check if you have power on this wiring, it's like two-way. For example, if you have some fancy tools like this one, you see we can touch to any positive contact, it's beeping and it shows us red light, it's a positive, also it shows right away the voltage. Or if you have negative contact like here, it's again different sound, and again show like no voltage and the different light. It's the easiest way. All what you can do, just stick this pin inside this yellow wire, and then on end of this wire you're supposed to check what do you have. If you have positive, you are good. If you don't have positive, check where is this wiring broken on destination from this dual control valve to this fuse. It's somewhere on this way. It goes directly through this harness and then under the headlight, and I will show you later where it's go. If you don't have this fancy tool, but you have multimeter, which is good enough, all you're supposed to do, again, like check, just attach one side to negative contact and another one to positive. If you see voltage around 12 volts, you're good. Or you can check, some multimeter has options to check a broken wire or not. You can select this option on your multimeter and see when it's attached to each other, you make some noise, which means the wire is good. For example, like here, I touch here and then here, and you hear this noise, which means the contact on this side is fine. You can do this with your fuse. You can attach over here on top of the fuse, and then on contact on your wire which you put inside of this terminal. If you hear the noise, it's fine. If it's more comfortable for you, if you don't have this like sharp point, you can take this fuse out and check without fuse. It doesn't matter. If positive contact to your dual valve is fine, let's check another contact, two other contacts, which go directly from your climate control module, which is under the glow box, but I will show you before a couple points where it's easier to check. As you can see, contact on dual control valve, it's all numbered, and we just check yellow wiring, which is number 2, and right now we're supposed to check wire 1 and wire 2. The closest access to the end of this harness, which go directly to your dual valve, is over here behind this cover. You're supposed to open it, and you see it's a harness over here which go to your dual control valve. The wiring directly from your valve going to this connector, to this one. Brown and white contact is pin number 8. The brown and green is next to it, a little bit lower, pin number 9. The same story as we did with the yellow wire on the dual control valve. We're gonna check this with multimeter if harness is fine. Right now we're gonna do the same way as we did before with the yellow wire. Right now we're gonna do the same with with brown and white and brown and green. We stick this pin inside the, for example, brown and white wire on your dual control valve under the hood, and then move this cable over here next to the cabin and check. You see, I attached the positive contact and check with brown and white, for example, here. If you hear the noise, it's fine. Your harness is fine. If no, it means somewhere broke up, and I will show you where is usually most common areas. In my case, I didn't have contact from dual control valve to this point, which means some harness on this way is broken. Right now I will show you the area where you usually lose your contact inside the harness, and this is a connector which is behind of this radiator. You see, it's like all water, whatever you have in front of your car, water, salt from your road, get through this radiator, and then behind of this radiator is connector. And you see, if you're gonna open this connector, usually you cannot find any alive wiring inside. They usually totally rotted out and rust eat them. And you see what I did? I just put connector from AC, from oxygen sensor. You see, I touched them over here a little bit earlier, this connector, and then put behind of this connector. But I did this way. Probably you can find some better one. But another thing, guys, couple months later, I again have problem with AC, and I found another loose of contact in contact group, and then it was absolutely the same harness, but you see, it's go over here under this shield. And if you have at least small crack, I would say Jaguar and Ford harness is so bad quality, probably they build them in Mexico, because right now I see even brand new cars with 1 or 2 years old with the Ford, which one lose contact or have broken wires and wiring, and over here under this shield, if you remove this insulation, you will see a lot of this wiring, this brown and green, brown and white, yellow wiring, which all goes to this dual control valve, and one of them I saw also eaten by rust, and again I'm supposed to fix it and replace it. Like, be careful with the Jaguar. It's again, like, I would say, kind of cheap harness in it, and you can always have some problem, especially in a very salty area like here in Massachusetts. Finally, we found the problem why we don't have AC. As I told you before, that we're supposed to have power all the time on our heating valve, and we go step by step by yellow wire from fuse box on the top to valve, which is located on a grill. And this was the easiest spot when you can check this yellow wire that's over here. And we found that there's no power over here. Then I decided to check, because it's kind of short wire, power before connector, and we found it for power. That means that we lose power somewhere on this line. And then I decided to open connector, and look what we got. It's, I would say, nothing. I definitely need to rebuild this connector. I will try to save as much as possible, and maybe we'll put new one. You see even something was burned over here, this black spot. I don't know if you see or no. Oh, sorry. Over here, it's something really burned. We'll try to rebuild it. It's really bad design, I would say. They put this in not the best place. As you can see, this ventilation window for this radiator, through the which one usually you definitely get some water, air, and connector located over here. That's why it's so many water, maybe salt water get inside of this connector and totally destroy all wires. We will fix this, and I believe AC will work very soon. As you can see, I replaced it, I would say rebuilt that connector. I found the two wrong one, which is burning out, and I decided to use from Ford E250 oxygen sensor connector. I touch it both sides on this. Rest of them I will try to clean it over here. I'm gonna put some contact cleaner, and we'll use my sandpaper or something like this to clean contact. Also, don't forget, before do this, disconnect your battery. That's very important. For example, if you find out that your AC system is fine, for example, clutch and your AC compressor is work, harness everywhere is fine, you have signal from your dashboard to your dual control valve, it's usually mean that you need to replace or fix your climate control module. Climate control module located over here behind the glove box. All what you need to do, just take this glove box out, which is, I would say, pretty easy. It's just a couple screws over here and a couple on the bottom, and as soon as you take them out, you find out boxes like this, you see, made in Portugal. It's located over here behind the glove box, and screw it just with one screw. Super easy to replace. You can go to any junkyard and do this by yourself, but again, like, be ready that, like, or make sure that you have something like return policies that you can return it back, because it's very common problem from your Jaguar, and you could have absolutely the same problem which you have right now with your Jaguar, because again, like, design for this climate control system, it's very bad, because they put all these devices on one fuses, and if at least one of them is burned out, they usually burn this climate control module. I bought the used one climate control module, which cost me just 47 bucks on eBay, but I found it the cheapest one. Most of them usually more than 150, or if you're gonna buy a new one, I believe it's gonna be more than 500 bucks. But I will show you also how possible to fix this climate control module just with two paperwork clip, and again, it's easy and it's work. I check it on my Jaguar, but I just put use one because I already ordered, but then I find out how to fix it. If you open this box, inside you will find it something like this, and this is a place which is usually burned. That's your climate control, how it looks inside, and this is the area which I fixed it. As you can see, you see these two, wire or two rods, and you see the black. One of them is your brown and green cable, and another one is your brown and white cable. That's this rod which go directly to your dual control valve, and you see it's burned out, but you see these two little circular holes, one over here and one over here, and what I did, I just put inside to this paperwork clip, and they make wiring good again, and right now it's work. Of course, you don't need to do this like so big. I just put this to show you what I did it, and you're supposed to do this small. Also insulate this valve, because then you're gonna put all the stuff back to these boxes, and you don't want to if they touch to each other. Just do them small and insulate. Yes, guys, it's not really right way, but again, it's like cheapest way. If you don't want to spend at least like 50 bucks if you can't find that something like used one, or you need to use this climate control tomorrow if you're going somewhere, it's the cheapest way. And believe me or not, if you connect this board right now to your climate control system, is gonna work. Also, guys, before do all this procedure with coolant valve, with climate control module, also would be good to check if clutch and AC compressor is work. To check this, you can put on this connector just your positive contact and see if it's clicking. If it's clicking, clutch is definitely fine. You see this contact here? Yeah, just again, like the same way as we check yellow, brown and green and other contact, you can check here, because contact from here goes directly to from fuse to AC compressor clutch relay, and then from relay to this contact. Again, the same way with this kind of tools, or with any other which you have, you can check if AC compressor is fine. I replaced it, I would say, by mistake, because I didn't know that so many problems at this time with Jaguar coolant system, coolant control valve or climate control module. But again, it's always good to check it, but it's easier. I would begin from this point. Right now, a little bit about modification which I did on this car. What I did, if you check wiring diagram on this car, as I told you, it's a bad idea to even engineer something like this. You see the three different devices on the same fuse. This is a 10 ampere fuse, control three different devices. It's your, if you have S-Type R with a additional supercharger, you have water pump, which is electric water pump for the supercharger. You have AC clutch relay and LC clutch, and also you have dual coolant control valve, which is all on the same fuse. And what's the problem? For example, if something is burned out, some of this device, you cannot understand which one exactly, because everything on the same point. And for example, if you lost your water pump, you get hot air inside of interior. Or if you, for example, broke some cable of some corrosion hit your cable, which goes directly to some of this device, you get hot air inside the interior. I fully fixed all this climate control system last summer, and after this I used this car for almost a year, and then I start to have again problem. What's the problem? My system again start to burn this fuse. I start to understand what's going on and decide to put not a 10, I put 15 ampere fuse, and in this case the system could use this fuse for example 1 week, but again this burn out. And what I decide to do, if you check this wiring diagram, it's easiest way to separate system. It's a cut wire which goes directly to this additional coolant pump. And why I decided to do this? First of all, because when I bought this car and check all the system during the work with the climate control system, I find out that the coolant pump looks, as I say, sorry that I tell this, looks a little bit cheap. And for example, I think it was some Chinese version, not a manufacturer version of this coolant pump. My idea was just find out which device burns these fuses, and I decided to separate all these devices: a valve, AC clutch, and additional water pump. I cut the wire, yellow wire, which is under the fuse inside of the box. How I did it, I just move these clips, take this box out, then remove the bottom part of this box to like move a little bit of the clips, and I cut this yellow wire which goes directly to additional coolant pump. And then I took a plus from here and get inside of this, put fuse here and attach to this cutting wire, which go after this directly to this additional water pump. And after this everything start to work fine, but only a system which cool down your superchargers start to burn fuses, which is right now connected to this one. And I put exactly the same amount of ampere, or here 10 ampere. Then I decided to switch it to 15 ampere. And it works much longer period, but again burn. And as soon as I put 20 ampere, everything start work fine. And right now, for a couple months, I'm driving this car without any problem. What's the problem? I think previous owner bought some cheap one water pump, which require much bigger amount of power, and in this case it's burn your just regular 10 ampere fuse. But again, like, I understand it's kind of not originally like idea how to do this, but when you do this modification, you like let you much easier to understand what's broken in your car. For example, if this fuse will burn out, I totally understand that a water pump. If this one is, or I mean 10 ampere fuse, is definitely your AC clutch or your dual control valve. Also, if you're gonna use, for example, normal water pump from Jaguar, you definitely don't need this 20 ampere fuse, because they're gonna require just 10 ampere fuse. Or also you can use a water pump, for example, from Ford Mustang GT or Cobra, where they use the same technology with additional coolant pump for supercharger. Also for future AC, I put for water pump different color relay. There's a white one here, I even write here water pump, and this is a relay for AC system. Also, you can check also contact from your AC system directly to your AC compressor.